Marvel Rivals Season 3 has finally arrived, and with the arrival of Season 3 comes a whole bunch of changes and things you may or may not know. The biggest one being the Season 3 countdown, or basically how long you have to play the ranked game mode to get rewards. And today I'm going to be going over all the tips and tricks you need to know for Marvel Rivals Season 3 ranked. Now just a fair warning, results may vary, and if you like the video, make sure to like it and subscribe if you're new. We're going to be doing a giveaway at 20,000 subscribers, so definitely check it out. But anyways, I can't thank you all enough for watching, so let's dive straight into the video.
Now first and foremost, the biggest change when it comes to Marvel Rivals Season 3 is that the new rank season only lasts 1 month, so you have less time to get to your desired rank. And instead of dropping you 9 ranks at reset, they dropped you 7 to account for that. Now truly, what I would like to see is a full reset and then the implication of placement matches, and then restart from there. Of course, that's my own opinion, and it could be different from what they have as a vision. Now what it's basically telling you is that you're going to be having to put a ton more hours to reach your desired rank because you have less time to play. But what do you think about this change? I think it's a major question mark. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now let's get into our real tips and tricks. Now one of my first tips and or tricks for climbing in Marvel Rivals Season 3 is all about positioning. Now I've talked about positioning time and time again, and I have a full positioning guide for both general play and Vanguard, so I highly recommend checking those videos out, and I'll put them in the pinned comments. However, if you don't want to watch those videos, that's perfectly fine. Here's a little bit of a TLDR for some smart positioning. Now when it comes to positioning, you always want to stick near solid, indestructible cover, walls, pillars, unbreakable terrain. This lets you dodge damage and break line of sight, which many abilities depend on. And to be able to tell which areas are breakable, you can press and hold B on mouse and keyboard. Now, I'm not exactly sure what the controller button is. Maybe it's some D-pad button, not entirely sure, so don't quote me on that. With characters like the Thing being extremely good in Season 3, he's going to be able to punish players who are in very bad positions and who are overextended, so knowing where to be placed is very smart. Now, if you're one of those people who doesn't think positioning really matters in a game like Marvel Rivals, think of it this way. Good positioning gives you options. You control when and how fights happen. If you're near a wall and get engaged, you can immediately disengage, heal, or play cooldowns. But if you're in the open, you're locked in, you don't get to make choices. Think of a corner or cover like a free ability. It buys you time to reload, heal, stall for teammates, or punish greedy enemies. Always be moving from corner to corner, wall to wall, maintain access to cover at all times, so you always have an escape route or a way to stall pressure while your team rotates in. Another key concept is that you want to be thinking in terms of time. When you're being dove, the question is, can I win this? It's how long can I survive until help arrives? Too many players yell, I need healing, and die before their support even has line of sight. Your job is to stretch the gap between I need help and I'm dead. Even buying 2 more seconds can let a healer top you off or allow DPS to collapse. And that's one of the biggest disparities between low rank and high ranked players. Now let's be honest, we all want instant heals or perfect peel the moment we take chip damage, but if you expect your Bucky or Namor to delete every diver the second they engage, well, you're going to end up disappointed, because those players, they're not in your rank. Now here's a little bit of a hot take, and it's of course in my opinion, is that you climb by needing less from your team. And while positioning is how you do that. It helps you live longer, make smarter plays, and contribute more even when your team is underperforming. Because ranking up isn't about how well you play when everything goes right, it's about how you play when everything goes wrong, in my opinion. Bad space, no healing, low damage, you still need to find value, and all that starts with smart, deliberate positioning. Now let's talk about counters, the topic nobody wants to hear but everyone needs to understand. Some players pretend counters quote unquote don't exist. Others believe every hero is always viable no matter the situation. But here's the hard truth. There are real lopsided matchups in Marvel Rivals. Ignoring them is one of the fastest ways to throw your games you could have won. Let me give you an example. If you're in mid to high elo and you're running Groot plus another tank into a competent Wolverine, especially with the new Phoenix team up, you're pretty much basically feeding. Wolverine thrives in those matches. He scales off max HP, and Groot is a perfect target for him and for Emma Frost and Thing and other heroes as well. He'll isolate Groot, burst him down in the middle of your team, and then go straight
for your backline. There's almost no counterplay unless you significantly outskill your opponent. Sure, you can outplay a bad Wolverine, that's certainly true, but when the matchup is that skewed, even pros don't take that risk. They swap off when they see comps like that. So ask yourself, if they're willing to switch, why wouldn't you? And it's not just tanks and flyers situations, some team comps demand specific answers. If the enemy is running Human Torch, Storm, Iron Man, any of the flyers in the entire game, and your team has no hit scans, you're just letting them farm you. If you're not pressuring them or contesting vertical space, you've already lost the map before the fight even actually begins. Now let's say you ignore this advice. You're getting stomped by certain heroes, but you refuse to switch picks or adjust your playstyle. That's just a straight up losing mentality. Now, yes, in low elo, raw mechanics can carry you, and sure, it's possible to climb as a one-trick if you're really skilled. But again, the truth is, there are games you would have won if you had simply adapted. That could mean switching your pick, adjusting your positioning, or changing your cooldown usage. With all the crazy comps people are running in Season 3, you don't need to counter everything, but you do need to think before the match even starts. Scout, adapt, pick smart. Sometimes one hero swap is the difference between a frustrating loss and a clean win. Adapt or lose. That's where the game is at right now. Now let's talk about the one tip almost nobody follows, but everyone should. And that of course is reviewing your matches. I get it, watching your own gameplay can feel boring, uncomfortable, or even cringe. It's easier in theory just to queue up again, but trust me, self-review is one of the most underrated tools for climbing in Marvel Rivals. You don't even need to rewatch the full game, just go into your match history, click on your recent games, and skip straight to the deaths. Then ask yourself these 3 questions. Where were you positioned? What cooldowns did you use or not use? Could the eliminations or your deaths have been avoided? You might discover you mistimed a single ability, or that you were constantly overextending, or maybe your positioning got you picked off and your team crumbled after that. Now, my biggest and most important reminder that I've been preaching since the birth of this game is that the only thing you can control is yourself in all these matches. You are the constant. You can't control bad teammates, bad comps, or missed shots from someone else. What you can control is your awareness, your decision making, and your ability to learn from your mistakes. Whether it's a small error or a major throw, every death is a chance to improve. So take the time, even just 2 minutes after a loss, to review and ask yourself, what could I have done better? That's mindset, that's how you climb. And if you're looking for some coaching, send a message to my business email, which is duckfilmsttv@gmail.com, and from there we can set up some one-on-one coaching. Now, I want to leave you with some heroes that I think will genuinely help you climb this season for Season 3. Now, when it comes to the Vanguard position, surprisingly, the thing has dodged any major nerfs, and in my opinion, he's currently one of the easiest tanks to pick up and play while still being incredibly strong. Especially with the changes made in Season 3, he has a new ability that's made him an absolutely living nightmare to play against. He synergizes extremely well with heroes like Magneto, Emma Frost, bringing constant frontline pressure and filling the role of a bruiser-style tank that can brawl and disrupt with ease. Especially even with his new ability, he can easily dive into the enemy's backline, destroy flyers, and get back to his team in a matter of seconds. And honestly, the best part is the higher you climb, the more value he brings. Skilled strategist players know how to maximize his disruption tool, creating space and forcing reactions from the enemy team. His value scales with teamwork and coordination, making him a sleeper powerhouse in the current meta. Although I don't think he's sleeper anymore, I quite literally think this character is literally the best tank right now, which is absolutely insane. He goes from a very low tier all the way up to essentially high A, even S tier in my opinion. The new ability has literally made this character quite literally insane. And honestly, picking up the thing can teach you a lot of valuable lessons when it comes to diving the enemy backline and getting out when needed that you could transfer over to other characters or other duelists per se. So if I were to pick up a Vanguard for Season 3, I definitely encourage you to look at the thing. Now let's talk about my duelist recommendation, and that's Wolverine. Now yes, Wolverine is going to be getting banned pretty much 24/7, but if he does get through, you have to play him. So I think luring him is a really good option. Now let's be honest, with the changes made to Season 3 with the team up with Phoenix, with the lifesteal, from a character that was already very good, this team up has literally excelled him and made him probably the best DPS in the entire game, with the exception of like Hella. The character just has way too much versatility, and it's kind of like, why wouldn't you pick him if he's made it through the pick ban phase? The amount of games I've won literally because a Wolverine somehow miraculously made it through, and the Wolverine on your team was slightly better than the Wolverine on the enemy team is kind of insane how it works now. It's pretty much a coin flip. Who has the better Wolverine on your team will most likely win the game. With the immense survivability this character has to offer, and the amount of movement, the amount of damage this character can receive, literally everything about this character, there's, again, no reason why you shouldn't be testing him out, trying him out, and playing him in your ranked matches if he's made it through. And that's my duelist recommendation. Then my recommendation for strategists, although there's a ton of really good strategists right now, you know, Invis, Cloak and Dagger, Luna Snow, Loki, I think my recommendation has to be Invisible Woman. You might be wondering why. There's better heroes with better healing. Well, the biggest factor is Wolverine. If Wolverine somehow makes it through the ban phase and Thing ends up getting banned on your team, then Invisible Woman is going to be the way to counter Wolverine from grabbing your teammates. The second Invisible Woman grabs one of your teammates, you can easily push or pull the Wolverine who grabbed it and interrupt the grab. This is something that's incredibly beneficial and life-saving to a majority of your vanguards and your duelists when you're facing a Wolverine. And also the character is pretty good. You can use it in multiple different team composition. If you're playing flyers, you can place your shield for your flyers. You can protect yourself on Magneto ults, Doctor Strange ults, Emma Frost ults, the whole shebang. In terms of Invisible Woman's healing, she does pretty good healing. So my biggest recommendation, definitely invest some time into Invisible Woman, especially if you want to be a more of a team player as a strategist, just so you can save, you know, your people that are getting kidnapped. But anyways, those were my little tips and tricks for Marvel Rivals Season 3. And if you found this video helpful in any way, shape, or form, do me a favor, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you're new. I appreciate you stopping by. I hope you have a great and safe day, and I'll catch you in the next one.